Games back in the day were no cakewalk. Brutal control schemes, demanding endurance challenges, steep difficulty curves, limited hand-holding and an unclear direction, and definitely no frequent autosaves.
What did I tell you about breathing?
Games have certainly become less of a painful experience than only Point Dexter over here could tackle. Nowadays, games go out of their way to make sure everyone, and I mean everyone,
Tilt up to move Mario forwards.
can enjoy the ride. Some of the improved experience is only natural, as controls, graphics, and basic hardware limitations improve. But are the other fundamentals getting watered down? Are the puzzles getting simpler? Are the enemies getting worse? Is the hand-holding overextending its reach? Instead of posing this question to gaming as a whole, I'd like to examine the franchises that have been around for a while. The ones that came about back in the day, and still churn out a few titles for the new generations. Today we'll be looking at the Tomb Raider. So, are games getting easier? Tomb Raider is one of those franchises that have made some big strides in terms of curbing general difficulty. If you played a classic Tomb Raider, then you know it controls like ass, which is weird because 3D platformers around the era certainly had some satisfying controls. But for some reason, Lara controlled like she was in some survival horror. Controls aside, I want to take a look at the other Tomb Raiding fundamentals, and see how things have evolved since its 5th gen debut. Things like, how many hits can Lara endure from the common schmuck? How long can she take punishment from wildlife? How long until she's gunned down by the opposition? Does her tolerance for punishment improve? Get worse? Stay about the same? I also want to check, Lara Croft jumps over stuff. A lot of high stuff. Her ability to jump high has shifted quite a bit over the years, but how about her fall tolerance? How long before she takes damage? How long before she breaks those pretty little legs? Everything calculated here will be in terms of Lara herself. In other words, how many Laras tall do you have to be before she dies? Then I want to check, every game has boss encounters. Fucking awesome ones like the God of Disorder and Violence. A man that morphs himself into a partial spider. A T-Rex. And a final boss that's like a mini boss you beat earlier in the game, but with more assholes to make it tougher, so you can hit a button prompt to kill the final boss that's been taunting you throughout the game instead of fighting him.
No.
fucking say.
How many are there?
She wants to kill everyone in the base. I hit her! Good work, brothers. We got her.
Alright. No, we're not shooting anything. Get out there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, I did really quickly. You just bit the dust really fast. It put me right there to, like, let's double check. Whoa. Hit me, you asshole. I'm right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
No.
Nope, nope. 5, 6. Okay. Ah! Relatively quick. Lara and Bear. Let's see how much she can take. 1. 2. I'm guessing it's gonna be 3. Oh no. Is it gonna be 4? Oh, more than 4.
No, it was fun.
Okay, cool. Care how shit of a quality this is. Alright, Lara versus the Wolves. That's... yeah, that's pretty fast. Alright, I played through every main installation somewhat, finding a good crop of enemies for each to test damage values. I know I didn't get all of them. I ran by the Tomb Raider wiki to see just like how many I missed for each game. I know the classic ones have like a ton of wildlife and variety. It kind of narrows that at Tomb Raider 5, but like whatever. Damage values kind of hop all over the place for all the various different enemies. Some enemies poison you to death, some burn you to death, some have like a one-hit kill, some just kill you because you're touching them. It's all over the place. The two I want to focus on are Dog and Man with Gun, because throughout all the games, those are the two enemy types that are like the most similar between games. Most Tomb Raider games had just like a four-legged wolf or dog that was just kind of standard, and most just had some kind of asshole with a gun that shoots at you. So I checked those damage values across. Now for the dog or wolf or whatever, I didn't run into it in Tomb Raider 8 and the Tomb Raider reboot. I know exactly where the wolves are in the Tomb Raider reboot. They're in the beginning. But I did not want to play through that shit again. So fucking deal with it. The classic Tomb Raider games we're gonna say is 1 through 5. Angel of Darkness will kind of be its own thing. Then we'll say the Crystal Dynamics trilogy for the next, and the Square Enix bullshit cinema games for the rest. So taking a look at Dog Wolf Enemy, it kind of hangs around in like the 20s in general to kill off Lara, 20, 27, 23. And Tomb Raider 2 is like a weird anomaly. It takes like 9 for the first dog you encounter. I'm not sure why. But in general, it hangs around in like the 20 hits. And then when you get to like their attempt to modernize it, it just spikes down dramatically to just 5 hits. I know it looks like it takes one big gash, but I slowed that shit down, and it's actually just like 3 quick hits in succession. I don't know why it did that. That's a broken game in general. When we get to the Crystal Dynamics trilogy, they cooled off from Angel of Darkness. They bumped it back up, and not quite as easy. It's kind of hovered around like maybe around 10 hits, like in the average, like one's 8, one's 12. Tomb Raider 8, like they had tigers and they had fucking, I don't know, lizards, but I couldn't find a dog enemy, and maybe they probably around there somewhere, but I just didn't find one. In fucking Tomb Raider reboot and Rise of the Tomb Raider, I know exactly where those wolves are. I'm not gonna go back through that game. And then it takes like 4 hits to kill you off for the other wolves. And that's tested on normal difficulty, by the way. If I could ever choose the difficulty, it's set on normal, because you couldn't choose the difficulty in the older games. So I just assume, you know, normal. Like, one's not like fucking super hard or really easy. So yeah, there's that. Dogs, the dog wolf enemy in general just killed faster as the games got modernized. The classic dogs were pretty lenient. They kind of toned up the difficulty as we jumped to the second trilogy of games. And the new games, they just fucking kill you if it's in quick succession. I know Lara just regenerates health on her own. For enemy gunmen, the enemy gunmen had a more interesting trend than the dogs. Like, instead of like just getting harder and harder as the games got newer and newer, it started off killing you around like 20 hits. Say for Tomb Raider 5, where like asshole uses really shitty gun. When it spikes down, I'm looking at this thing. The difficulty with guns spikes down when you get to the Crystal Dynamics trilogy. Like, instead of killing you around 20, it started killing you after 20 shots or so, be it like an automatic or whatever. Like guns just in general got worse in the new games. Not by a lot, but they got worse. But then they just dramatically get better in the Square Enix games. You can only take like 6, I think I landed on 6 shots, like around there. You can take like 6 shots back to back before dying. Obviously it can be far more if you're taking cover and playing the game like better than I was doing to try to test it out. So probably more than 6, but she has a lower shot tolerance and it's expected that you play the game better, which I guess is good in terms of difficulty. Like it's not still giving you like 20 or so bullets, maybe on an easier difficulty, but I only tested it on normal because I assume that's what I already explained why I did it on normal. And I know there's other fucking factors here, like, you know, the game's puzzles and whatnot, but I'm not gonna test that because in general the games just, they get easier. If we're talking puzzles, the classic games get like really difficult for the wrong reason. You might find yourself getting stuck because you didn't know, hey, this texture on a wall was a ladder, so I can climb up that and keep going. Like, the graphics might be your biggest hindrance on those games. Ladders were literally just blocks with stretched out paint across them, and just like, oh, I can climb up this. But yeah, the newer games got better at pointing you on where to go. They kept it linear with some open areas. I never really got stuck in the reboots as opposed to like the Crystal Dynamics trilogy. There's like one area where I got stuck in that big open fort place in Tomb Raider 8, but the newer games, like they really let you know where to go. There is one path, and that is the path you are going to take. Some of the challenge tombs got tricky, but the difficulty in those terms has just been getting simpler and simpler. So I am factoring that shit into this whole test, but the only objective things I can test for right now are just like damage values and damage values. Can you tell this is not scripted, by the way? I'm looking at just like numbers. But right now we're gonna test high. We're gonna see how much. Okay, that's a lie. Like, it's already tested. I know. I just need to calculate how much. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's just fucking do this. No. Wow. Holy fuck, this girl can survive some fall. No, she's still alive. Jesus Christ. Alright, let's see what she does. No. I don't know. It's like a hair from death.
What difficulty did you put it on? You put it on baby difficulty? Probably, you little bitch.
It's all on normal.
Exactly! That's baby difficulty. You gotta do survivor, bro.
No, I have to be consistent. Everything has to be normal. So can I go any higher? This is gonna be used. She doesn't die. This is gonna be useless. So this is not practical to do with one game. All right. So this is just a little bit higher. Let's see if she survives. Oh, okay. That's what it takes. Good lord, she has some fucking hops. First thing I'd like to note is that everything you saw was the minimum distance it took to kill Lara. These were not just some arbitrary heights I chose to show her falling to her death. Some surfaces were easier to test than others, some when I had like a ladder or a pole, but otherwise I had triple check those heights back and forth, so I'm quite certain that's what it takes to kill Lara at the absolute minimum. Classic Tomb Raider has Lara surviving falls of about 3.2 times her height for the first 2 games only. 3 and 4 like double her fall tolerance, and then 5 knocks it back about 1 Lara for her height. So 4 and 5 have her surviving at like about 6 times her height, and then 5 has her surviving about like 5 times her height. Angel of Darkness keeps it about 5 times her height, and then the Crystal Dynamics games bump it down to about 4. She can only survive 4 times her height in these games. The Crystal Dynamics and classic games have a different way of calculating fall damage. In the classic games, it's purely dependent on your health. You would either pass a certain threshold and then you lose X amount of health, and then it would take about like 5 or 6 times her height to completely deplete it. In the Crystal Dynamics games, if you're like right under her fall threshold, she'll keep like half of her health, but if you go like a little bit over her fall tolerance, she just eats shit like completely, like regardless of how much health she has. I think they were dead set on keeping it to having 4 times her height, no more, regardless of how much health you had. So those games roughly keep it about that level. Assuming the Square games did not mess around with the code, I didn't test it in Tomb Raider. I couldn't get to a section where I could just climb a surface and then keep repeatedly testing her fall damage. It kept throwing me into this or that, but luckily the one after that, whatever the fuck you call it, she can take roughly 7 times her height before she completely dies, so the difficulty was really toned down in the fall tolerance sense. So for difficulty overall, like what does this all say about it? Well, I divvy things up into 4 categories: our tested enemy damage values and height tolerance, plus things like controls and puzzles. Like the 2 things I didn't really need to test because we all kind of we know how those work between games. Between the classics, Angel of Darkness, the Crystal Dynamics games, and the Square games, they're going to get a score of 1 through 4 for each category. 1 of it was the easiest, and 4 of it was the hardest. And this will tell us how the games are relative to each other difficulty-wise. So we wind up with the classics at 10, Angel of Darkness at 13, Crystal Dynamics at 9, Square Games at 7. Yeah, more or less that's kind of it. I see the new games as kind of being the easiest of the bunch. I mean, like the combat got toned up definitely, but all of the other aspects have kind of been watered down. You're never exactly going to get lost. You're never really going to screw up a jumping puzzle and like fuck up. Unless, I don't know, it's like one of those big sequences where you either fuck up or don't fuck up. But otherwise, you kind of know where to go. Same thing with the Crystal Dynamics games. You're kind of always going to know where to go. It's not really that confusing. There is room to get confused, but I would say you'd have a hard time actually getting stuck in those games. The combat was just kind of there to, I guess, keep things interesting, but otherwise, you're not really going to struggle with those games. I mean, maybe if you like fuck up a jump or something, it was way more punishing than pretty much the other games in that aspect, where if you're trying to do something, you slip up or you're gonna have to like start over. But otherwise, yeah, it's fine. Angel of Darkness is completely broken. This should probably be like a 17 or a 20. Like that game is a nightmare to at least try to play on PC. I would not recommend playing that game. And then the classics kind of differ. I mean, they're much harder in terms of puzzles, but that's for different reasons. Either like, hey, it didn't look like I could go there, or I didn't know this could do this. I mean, 3 is where things definitely get more intense, because like by Tomb Raider 4, like you're going in between different zones, trying to like put puzzle pieces in different places. I actually quite like that. So yeah, I agree with that list. I would definitely say the Square games are the easiest. The Crystal Dynamics games are slightly easier. And the classics would be the most difficult of those. I don't know what you want me to do.